Hey, welcome back to Ultimate Closet. This is Jennifer. Hope you're all doing well today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And I would love for you to stay through to the end. And if you like the content, please subscribe so I can grow the channel and grow the community. And if you're returning viewer, welcome back. Also, thank you to the last subscribers that I've had in the last couple of days, and to my old subscribers, thank you for staying tuned to the channel. And I would love if you guys could engage with me more, make some comments. And so I don't know if you guys know or have seen any of my videos where I spoke about in high school. I attended high school in Jamaica of the West Indies, because I know they have Jamaica Queens in, the States, but this is Jamaica in the West Indies. I wore a tie in high school for 5 straight years, and I love the tie because it just made me look like an executive. I just embraced the whole look of wearing the tie. So the uniform that I wore was a cream colored blouse with pleated skirt and a green tie with green belt. And like I said, I felt really, really neat, when I was dressed. And that kind of helped me put myself together, and it's always been the case with me because our school also was so disciplined. So lately I've been really looking at more ties. Now I have one tie that I was just, circulating, and normally I'd wear it during the fall season or, Christmas time, because it had like the little, glitter in it. And I really didn't go out investing in ties, I just kind of, if I wanted to, I would wear my grandson's ties. And my grandson, he doesn't like ties. But the other day, I did a project to where I cut this jacket. This was my mom's, and I cut it and cut a piece off of it, to where it could fit me better. And then what I did was to add these sleeves on there, so it, it's kind of like a batwing looking sleeve. But yeah, I am loving the way it turned out. And so from that, I ended up with this, where I cut the arm. So I cut it off like that and cut the piece on the side coming down. So I ended up with this, and normally I don't throw scraps away. So I did a video the other day where I showed this outfit that I made. This is the top, and this is a skirt. So I made these from scraps that I was cutting up to make something else. And I still have a few of the red pieces. I don't want to throw them away. So anyway, I was saying, when I cut pieces of scraps and stuff like that, I don't throw them away. I keep them. You would say I'm a scraps hoarder because I have a plastic bag filled with scraps. And I was looking at making clothing from some of the scraps, like different color pieces of scraps. If they're big enough, then I would sew them together and get, like a top or whatever I could get from it. So yeah, from the jacket, the jeans jacket, like I said, I got this piece. And so yesterday I was digging up and searching for some things, and I looked, and when I saw it like this, I said, wait a minute, this looks like a necktie, because I'm thinking it can go over the neck. And I was also watching some videos the other day, and I saw where this one YouTuber, her name is T. Myers Handmade. I saw how she was embellishing ties and everything. because I think I was looking up how to make a shawl, you know, like on the back of a dress. And I saw all these different videos of interest, so I would click on them. But that lady, T. Myers Handmade, she is an upcycler, I come to find out. And so it's so funny that she was making these different ties, you know, where she cut the necktie, and you know, was putting on the embellishment on them. And anyway, so when I saw this, I said, this reminds me of something I could use. It reminded me of a necktie, first of all, and something I could use to make, you know, like a neck piece or something. So of course it was the two arms that I did, and so I was able to do this with the first one. I wanted to, you know, just my mom would have said, Tonya and make fashion. Meaning, you know, use your hand and what you're thinking of and be creative with it, and, you know, make something fashionable. And so when I saw it, I said, I have old pieces of jewelry that I've lost one piece to and still have one left, and I was keeping them for whatever reason. What I will do sometimes is, if I have one piece of, you know, earring, and I have like a small chain or something like that, I would try to use that piece as a pendant and make a necklace. And so that's, you know, why I didn't throw away like my pieces of costume jewelry that broke up and stuff like that. So for instance, something like this, you know, this was a watch, and it had a band handle like this. This is pieces of it. This is another piece. So they broke. They're supposed to be vintage looking. Yeah, I'd say more vintage looking, but as far as the sturdiness of it, you know, yeah, they were like imitation vintage, you know, vintage stuff, but they had that vintage look. And so what I did was to break, you know, when this broke, I just kind of, this was hanging on to it, and I pressed on it, broke it off. So I have this piece here, and then there is this, and I just broke this piece off, right? And so I'm gonna try to use up those pieces. On this one here, I had this piece, I bought this a long time ago, and I'd accent this top that I had, but I didn't use a sewing machine, you know, to hold it in place. I just kind of wanted to see what it looked like. So after washing it, of course, it came off because I didn't, like I said, sew it on, you know, to where it would stay securely. So it came off. After it came off, I just cut it in two and said I was going to use it for something else. Well, it's been around for a while. I have these pieces of lace here, and the other day I was actually trying to make a necklace separately. Actually, no, I was trying to make something to put on the front of a jacket that I have. So I'd run this through and try to tie it, you know, just to make some something fancy on the front of the jacket. So I was trying to do that along with this, you know, and put some stuff on it, but that didn't work. And also what I was trying to do was to, you know, use this to put on a pocketbook to where I could, because the zipper top of it came off, so I was trying to make something out of this to put on the zipper, you know, so I could pull it. Well, it didn't look right, so I took it off. So now I have these pieces that I can use to accessorize this one here. All right, so stay with me, and you know, I'm gonna show you how I worked on I'm gonna work on this one here to look like this, you know, because on this one, you know, I started off sewing the piece of lace on top, and then I thought about instead, you know, just to put it on the edge so it would look like that, like a border. And then, like I said, I used this piece here and made a little rose out of it. You know, kind of twisted it around, made a rose. This piece here is a ring that I used to wear, but you know those costume ring that have the elastic in it? So what it did, it broke, and the pieces of the ring broke off. So I had this piece with the little pearl I didn't want to throw away, so I kept that. And so I have this on here. What I did was to hand stitch this on there. And then this was a necklace. It had a little black piece on this side here that came off. So I used this and I hand stitched this as well. And this is one earring. I lost the other one. And so I kept this. And what I did was just to stick the earring on the inside of the fabric here. So that's how I came up with this piece. And I actually wore this today. Someone said that they thought it was a part of the blouse. You know, follow along with me. And oh, the good thing about this is if you don't want to use the sewing machine, you can always do the needle and thread. This one is going to be for my daughter, because when she saw this one today, she said she wanted one. She was asking if I had another one, and I said, yeah, I have one just for you. So I'm going to be make the sides here even. So I'm going to just go ahead and trim right here. And then I am going to, if you see this is kind of uneven. So I'm just going to trim this down to where both sides are even. All right, so while I was working, I thought about doing something a little different with this one. If you can see this, let me know what you think about how this looks. But also what I could do on this one is put some gathers. So I'm using a needle and thread. And I am going to run the stitch the full length here of this piece. And then see if I can gather it. Just trying to, you know, use my creativity to make something a little bit different, so they have different look, I guess. All right, so I'm gathering this, but I'm gonna keep this one straight instead of doing it like this in a circle. So I'll bring it up to the close to the top here, and I'm going to hand stitch on both ends. So let me go ahead and do that. And then I'll decide next on where I'm going to be placing the pieces of costume jewelry. So like I said, this is just a great way of using pieces of lost costume jewelry or broken pieces of costume jewelry, you know, or anything that you want to use. And you can also use the glue, fabric glue, or you can use a glue gun, glue stick. If you don't have any of those things, you know, you can always do your hand stitch. So I'm just doing this to where the stitch will hold securely. All right, so this is what my first step looks like. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Trying to see. I'm gonna put that piece right there. And ideally you want to get pieces of jewelry that has holes in it, you know, to where you can position your needle. through the hole and then stitch it onto the fabric. All right. Then what I do is put a few tacks to the back of the stitching to secure the piece in place. Okay, let's see how that looks on the front. And then my next move is to hand sew the lace on the side. I thought about putting it around the neck, but if I find another piece I might do that. But I am going to just use both pieces that I have here and put on the edge here. So I've got my needle and thread strung up, and you can always pin this on before you hand sew, so it will hold while you're sewing. And I'm just trying to position the lace evenly. So the back is here, the front is here, and then I'll start sewing. I just did the pin so you know you can get an idea or a visual of how you can hold your fabric in place if you're gonna hand sew or machine stitch. Okay, so I hand sewed the lace on the side. I have this piece here going down in the middle. I sew these two pieces on, and I have these little, I guess, rhinestones. I may have some more around the house, so I'm gonna sew on some pieces on here. And I wanted to save these for other projects. So I'm going to put this earring here like I did with this one. I'll put it right there and stick it here in the middle. And as you can see, guys, this is just a regular piece of hook earring. I only have this one. I did love the pair when I had it, but yeah, I didn't want to throw that one away. So I have this one here. So let me go ahead and sew on these rhinestones. Okay, so this is my finished look on this one. And let me tell you something, guys. This is my mama's skills coming out, because my mom used to make some beautiful hand pieces. She used to sew some nice, like, toilet paper holders and, you know, just different household items besides what she used to make on an everyday basis to sell. Yeah, she used to sew some nice little things to go around the house. So this is the other piece. I put some rhinestones on this one, and pieces of that broken watch, and I put, you know, like on this one here on the edge. I found an earring and I put on this one here at the top. So yeah, just two different look. Let me know what you think about these. All right, I want to hear it in your comments. Depending on which one my daughter likes, we'll see. If she liked this one, I'll give her this one because, you know, she was looking at this one today. So I can give her this one and I can wear this one. Either way, it will look cute. So yeah, drop it in the comments and let me know what you think. All right, but hope you guys liked this video. And I hope you were inspired to do something creative with pieces that you may find. And you guys will see me on the next video. Bye.